I'm Sean Fennessey.
I'm Amanda Dobbins.
And this is The Big Picture, a conversation show about British things.
And also women's things.
Women's things,
Yeah.
Absolutely. A woman is here. It is not Amanda. Yasi Salek. Hi, Yasi.
Hi, I'm so proud to be a woman here on
you
The
are.
Big
Are you-
Picture.
Are you a British woman?
Spiritually?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're adorning the Union Jack on your person today. You've also brought a flag.
Yeah, I'm a known Anglophile, like to the point where I'm like, we shouldn't have fought for our independence.
You would still like to be under the king's reign.
Well, yes.
Okay.
King Charles.
King Charles.
Yeah.
You believe he is a fearless leader?
I don't believe in the monarchy, but I believe in British culture. So
Okay. And you agree, actually.
Well, I at first I was like, no, but then I looked around and then I was like,
I'm
maybe
just saying
yes.
we didn't do
You know?
that good on our own.
I
in
mean,
the end.
they're also having some issues, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, this is an interesting way to set up this episode because one of the things that we did do here in America is we did create the movie studio system, right?
Oh, okay.
Which was-
You're talking about Hollywood.
Which was an amazing
Sure.
thing.
Sure.
But what we're going to talk about today is mostly the British movie studio system and British movies. There are two new British-ish movies that are out in theaters or streaming at home. The one streaming at home is called Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy. It's the fourth Bridget Jones movie.
That's right.
We're also going to be talking about Paddington in Peru. This is the third Paddington movie. And we're going to use this as an opportunity to build a canon. You know, 2 years ago, Chris and I created the 21st century sci-fi movie canon. We talked about the best science fiction movies that were made this century. This is the first one we're doing since then, I believe. This is an odd wrinkle. These have to be British movies, but they're British movies that American people like.
Mhm.
Now, Bridget Jones and Paddington really fit well
Yeah.
into this delineation. Americans really dig Bridget Jones. They also really dig Paddington. There's a lot of other kinds of movies like this.
Yeah. So when you say they have to be British movies,
Mhm.
let's drill down on that definition.
British actors have to figure prominently,
Okay.
or they have to be stories set in Britain, or they
Okay,
have to
but
be filmmakers who are British with a particular sensibility.
But it doesn't have to be like British filmmaker only.
No. I think there's some loose delineations around
Okay.
this. There can be an American's interpretation of Britain with British
Yes,
actors, for
which
example.
there is a lot of
Yes.
on this
Okay.
list.
Um,
I'm sure that we're just going to really endear ourselves to our British listeners.
no, they're going to be mad, but I don't care. You've been making them mad for months now in Bandsplain.
Yeah, when I said it was Northern Ireland and regular Ireland, that didn't go over well. And
No,
I
we
do
don't appreciate
apologize.
that.
I
Yeah.
apologize. I'm doing my best.
Okay. We're going to be as informed as we can be today on
Yeah.
this podcast. So we're pre-recording because it's Wellness Week next week at Spotify.
Sure.
And over the weekend, interestingly enough, the BAFTAs are occurring. I wish we could have been here, honestly, on Monday for the BAFTAs because that would have made this the perfect British episode. Any predictions for what's going to go down at the BAFTAs? What's going to win Best Picture?
Better man.
I don't believe
I
it's
don't think it is.
nominated.
Let's see. They could go for Conclave.
Mm-hmm.
They could go for The Brutalist, I
Mhm.
think.
Well, what do you think is going to happen? If you had to guess.
Well, Conclave. Let's go with Conclave.
Okay. Any guesses? You've been catching up on the Oscar movies.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Do you feel like the BAFTAs lean a certain way because of Britain's great care for art?
No.
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 I think they're like any other awards body.
Okay, so they
and in fact, they're like a little weird because in their response to, so along with Oscars So White, there is an ongoing BAFTAs So White,
Sure.
which is,
Colonialists,
you know, they have literally never nominated Denzel Washington for an award. So
crazy.
Right.
Even when he
So
did Shakespeare.
exactly. So they made their own revisions
Okay.
to their system, but they're like very, very confusing.
Mm.
And there's like different jury systems and lots of things. So it's really hard to predict what's going on because they've got so many new rules.
Right.
And yet it is still weirdly kind of predictive of the Oscars. At least it's very,
Oh,
at least
really?
it shows us how certain contingents are thinking.
Got it.
So
I could see Conclave for sure. I'm a Conclave stan. I'm Pope movie stan.
Okay.
I would be happy with The Brutalist.
same. I think those are two good guesses,
Thank
Conclave
you.
and The Brutalist. If Honora wins,
I'd
we
be
can kind of just go
surprised.
home.
Yeah,
And
right.
just
You
be
don't
like,
have to
this
do
is
your...
what's happening.
What
Maybe
if
we
we
shouldn't
just
even record.
Have a nice party, you know?
But
And be
not
like,
record it.
hey, Honora won. We like Honora.
Can
It
have
would be
it at a
great. It would be,
strip
nice,
club.
it would be a nice thing, but it would say a lot. Honora, a very American film. I guess a
Very
very Russian film in some ways too. But
Sure.
the 5 nominees for Best Picture there are Complete Unknown, Honora, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and The Brutalist. Probably the 5 leading contenders to win Best Picture. So we'll see what happens
I
there.
noticed they didn't nominate Wicked.
They did not nominate Wicked.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is interesting.
Are you a Wicked person? Okay, good.
I don't like musicals pretty much 90% of the time.
I don't like modern musicals, so
Yeah.
I'm with you.
There is another category.
Okay.
Outstanding British film.
Sure.
What do we got?
Well, Better Man not recognized there.
Okay.
Bird, Blitz, Conclave, Hard Truths, Gladiator 2, Kneecap, Lee, Love Lies Bleeding, The Outrun, and Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Fell. Any faves there?
What happened to our Hard Truths episode? You said that we would get to talk about it.
Yeah, I kind of want to wait until after the Oscars.
Oh, and when it's more widely
Yeah,
available?
I also think it's going to get a lot of attention on the alternative Oscars
It sure
discussion.
is.
So
Yeah.
I felt like it could be
Have
wended
you
into
seen this
that.
film?
No, unfortunately, not to bring up my burnt down house again, but
Sure,
I
yeah.
had tickets the week of the fire, and I was
Yeah.
so excited.
Yeah, you're a Mike Lee
Alamo
fan.
Draft.
Yeah.
I love Mike Lee, and it was not
So
the right timing for me. But I'm dying, and now it's not in the theaters anymore. I'm so sad.
It is on VOD.
I know, but I wanted to see it. Honor me, Mike Lee.
I do honestly think that there's like a little bit of it's good to have some distance between the fires, and because I saw it the week after.
Yeah, I
and
heard
It's a very hard
it's a hard
movie.
hang.
It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's incredible. It like knocked my socks off, but I also was like feeling very emotionally not as emotionally
It's okay.
raw.
It's not a contest.
It's not a
Yeah.
contest. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a lot. So when you're ready,
I'll VOD it, not with my
Yeah.
parents because I don't think it's their bag of
Yeah.
chips.
It would
per
be
se.
my pick of all these
Yeah.
films for sure.
Okay.
Um,
Love Lies Bleeding, I haven't seen, but every time I hear it, I believe it's a line in a Fuel song or something that goes,
Also what I
Love
thought.
Lies Bleeding.
I think you have some Love Lies Bleeding energy. You might enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm happy to see it. I'll see anything where people have British accents. Do they have
So-
British accents?
It is pretty good. It's a odd nominee for Best British Film because Rose Glass is a British filmmaker, but it's a movie set in like Arizona or
I thought
Nevada.
it was Vegas.
Or maybe
It's a
Nevada,
wrestling movie.
yeah.
Is it
No.
not?
It's not
There is a
wrestling movie.
bodybuilding element.
Got a bodybuilding.
Yeah, bodybuilding, noir, sex, body horror, basically.
Okay. Another one I
Um,
won't watch with my parents, but
Yeah, set that one out. Can you watch Bridget Jones Mad About the Boy with your parents?
yes.
Yeah. Did you?
I didn't because I watched all 4 Bridget Jones movies yesterday.
Okay.
And so there was a really tight. That's right. It was a great day. Best day of my life, honestly.
Not
I
for
wish.
the first time.
No.
Okay.
I had memory hold the third one, to be honest.
I had as well. So
Yeah.
I rewatched it the
Yeah.
night before, and then I watched Mad About the Boy.
By the time it was time to watch here, also my parents have the most. I'm living with my parents. They have the most complicated TV system of all time. Like it's like you have to like turn the cable off, turn the sound of the cable off with your phone in order to bring the streaming apps on. And Peacock is not available on their smart TV.
Okay.
And
No,
so I
that's-
couldn't
yeah.
figure out how to get it with them. And I was like, I'll just go watch it on the laptop in my bed. So that's what I did.
Well, thanks for mentioning this movie is streaming right now on Peacock, despite the first 2 Bridget Jones movies being big box office successes, not just in England, but here in America.
It's misogynistic. I'm going to say it.
The third film didn't do as well. It was 9 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You could make the case that there's an audience to go see this movie in movie theaters, especially on Valentine's Day weekend.
Babe, I would have had a whole bottle of Pinot Gris
Yeah.
in one hand and a Kleenex in the other, ready to fucking party.
So
And
you
they denied
cried.
me that. Yes.
I wept throughout this movie.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to talk about
So
what this movie is about and what it is?
I guess so. Have you read the book?
I've not read the.
Okay.
Are there more than?
So there are three Bridget Jones books.
But this is not handled in the book, or it is.
this is handled in the book.
Okay.
So the third film, Bridget Jones's Baby,
Yeah.
kind of like went out of literary canon,
Yep.
if you
Yeah.
will.
Kind of a Quantum Mania
and
situation.
so they like alternate ending it. But the book, Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy, is a book that Helen Fielding, the author of all the
Right.
books, wrote kind of based on her
Right.
life.
She
Yes,
also. I couldn't
exactly.
tell if she was actually widowed or just the father of her children passed away. Either way,
Sure. Yeah.
it was
Um,
autobiographical in that
So
sense.
so I had read the book and candidly wept through that. So I knew a little bit of
Mhm.
what was coming.
Okay.
But anyway, 9 years. So in Bridget Jones 3,
Yes.
Bridget Jones 1, she's
The big
Britain,
choice.
She's Britain's Carrie Bradshaw.
Yes.
Right.
And it's a light adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. And at the end, she does end up with Mark Darcy. Spoiler alert. With a speech that literally was read at my wedding. So
I'm dead. I wrote in my notes.
Yeah.
God tier romantic comedy line is. I like you.
I like you just as you are.
As
yeah,
you are.
That whole little speech, like the jumper and the
Do you have
something.
a video?
Yeah.
Can I watch it?
No, I don't think we had videos. Do you know what Sean
I filmed
read
the whole thing
at
on
our,
70 millimeter. Yeah.
Do you know what Sean read at our wedding?
What?
Which is takes on a different valence this year.
Invictus?
But in 2016, you know what?
Not my choice, for the record.
Listen, in 2000, sometimes I think we have to be honest. Like, we're millennials, and in 2016, we cared about Drake.
Yeah.
And he read the Take Care outro.
No.
Yes, he did.
But Take Care is the only Drake song I like.
Yeah, of course.
It's the best album.
It was beautiful. So, all right. So Bridget Jones picks Mark Darcy. Bridget Jones 2, hijinks ensue. And once again, she picks Mark Darcy.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, what is Hugh Grant's character's name? Daniel Cleaver. Thank you. Daniel Cleaver has quote unquote died in the bush,
we're gonna get
which
to
is
that.
funny. We'll get to it, but it opens with his funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And then
It's a very, very funny scene, actually.
Yeah,
has some redeemable things.
I can't even remember. I'm sure I watched it when it came out, but
it's
I have
filled
no
with
recollection.
Russian
One, I
models,
remember
his
vividly.
funeral.
Yeah.
2, a little bit. I definitely saw it and was paying attention. 3,
Sure.
I don't know if I memory hold it, but I couldn't remember any of the decisions that they made.
So it opens with her doing the signature credit pajama dance to jump around, right?
Yes. They do great music in these films.
They do great music, and that is, I would like to talk about it.
Okay.
So Daniel Cleaver dies, and so then she goes to a music festival.
I believe it's supposed to be Glastonbury, but they
Yeah,
don't say.
right.
Ed Sheeran is there.
Ed Sheeran, yes.
He plays himself.
And she doesn't recognize him,
Very 2016,
which is funny.
yes.
She thinks he's a barista at her local Starbucks.
Yes.
Okay.
And then
Oh, Bridget.
she sleeps with Patrick Dempsey in their glamping yurt.
Yep.
And then she runs into Mark Darcy at a christening.
Yeah, of one of her, Jude, I believe, one of her.
And she sleeps with Mark Darcy. And she uses dolphin condoms with both. So
That are 20 years old.
Yeah, so she's pregnant and she doesn't know which one is the father.
Okay.
And so then it's, a recreation of which one will she choose?
No recollection.
The conceit is not bad. I think the
yeah.
execution
Well,
could have been
Patrick,
better.
respectfully to
I know.
McDreamy, but it's just not.
What my mother said,
Yeah.
I did watch that with my
Yeah.
mom, and she was like, "So handsome, he should not speak."
Yes, exactly.
We
Wonder where you get it from.
should bring her on the big picture.
But
Yeah,
even that one, there's the one rom-com moment where he's like, "We never got a second date," so he comes and he brings out.
I liked it.
It's good writing. It's good rom-com
brings
shit.
a Swedish piece of Swedish furniture for them to build.
Spoiler alert: at the end of Bridget Jones 3, she has the baby. It's a boy. She marries Mark Darcy. Finally,
It's his.
We get
Emma Thompson, which is
Emma Thompson
incredible.
is
She's the
gynecologist.
gynecologist.
which is very funny.
Yeah.
And then the very last shot of 3 is a newspaper of publisher found alive after 1 year. They do say at the funeral they never found his body. And then the last shot of Bridget Jones 3 is he's still alive.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel. Okay. So Bridget Jones 4. I mean, did you know going in?
Yes,
You did know. Okay. Did you know going in? Was
The premise of the movie?
Yeah.
Not really,
Okay.
no. I'm really happy for you guys because you're having your Star Wars mythology
Yeah,
moment here,
yeah,
where
yeah.
you're
No, I know.
recapping
Yeah.
all the, the somehow this character returned thing.
Right.
you don't care about women's issues.
No, I'm
I
excited for you to have this moment.
I do understand that it was my cinematic universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a little bit like the British Sex and the City. It's the best way that I can compare all of this.
And it's interesting comparison because that they kind of use the exact same premise to start the Sex and the City that we have now,
right?
Which with Mr. Big dying in the beginning,
right? Yeah. So
in the movies, at least, yeah. I'll point out some differentiation that I find interesting. That maybe is just cultural.
I mean, I think it is cultural, but it in the sense that Bridget Jones started as a newspaper column that Helen Fielding was writing that then turned into a book that then turned into a movie series.
She wanted to write a book about a woman running a refugee camp in the Sudan. And then they were like, "We want you to write this." And she was like, "Okay, whatever. This is stupid."
Best
And
intentions.
then
Real brutalist vibes there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway, it worked
her
out.
whole life.
Yeah. So Mark Darcy is dead, which they kind of tease out. I thought the first like cold open 15
Yes.
minutes
Wonderful.
of this movie were like fairly devastating
Mhm.
because Colin Firth is like briefly in it as like a ghost thing, and then
They give us a flashback early on, and then he's kind of apparitional through the movie, right?
yeah. No, but even like when she meets him on the block
To walk to the
thing, he's apparitional.
apparitional,
okay,
yeah.
that was
Yeah.
not a flashback.
It was,
Got it.
it's
Okay.
like the
Yeah,
anniversary of
yeah.
his death where she gets together,
see.
which was also so great because it was like they brought back so much stuff and then bringing back
Like
the interrogational dinner.
Yes, with the same
Yeah,
actors
yeah.
20
With
years
the same
later.
actors.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it was so
There
great.
are like a lot of, and I'm sorry to use this phrase, Easter eggs in this
Yeah.
movie
Mhm.
if you are like a Bridget Jones person, which
Comes for us all, Amanda.
it comes for us all, and I did notice that. But primarily, this is a movie about grief
Mhm.
and raising children by yourself. And
Very much about middle age, I
And
think,
yeah,
in a
and
way that
I-
is unusual in big movies like this.
and I do think like both romances are sort of, there are two romances like in every Bridget Jones movie, but they're not quite afterthoughts, but they aren't the center
Right.
of the movie.
Yeah.
I agree.
They don't feel as
Yeah.
essential to the mechanics as the first three movies.
Yes.
So, we haven't mentioned the stars. Renee Zellweger, of course,
Sure.
is, as always, Bridget Jones, a not British person who's been playing
Mhm.
this British character for quite some
However,
time.
I did poll some British friends, and they were like, her accent is perfect.
This
like,
has
you would
long been
never
true.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is like
This was true on the first film. She got
Yeah.
high marks, right, for her
Yes.
ability to
I think
embody
everyone was
this
like
character.
outraged
That
when
they
she
didn't
was
cast
cast.
it, yeah.
An American was cast.
So
as
you
a-
like her. She's a good Bridget.
oh,
Yeah,
she
she's
is
great. And I was reminded once again watching this movie, like a great comedic actress.
Mhm.
She is very funny. Like the scene in the elevator where she doesn't know how it works and is just doing like physical comedy. Yeah, like
This is
funny.
what she does best, in
Yeah.
my opinion. This is like her,
completely. And
her
they give
super
her like
secret skill.
some dance sequences. They give her.
Also, she looks fabulous.
Yeah, she does.
So this movie is the first of the 4 films to be directed by a man, which I thought was
Okay.
notable. It's directed by Michael Morris. You may recall him from the film To Leslie, which very few people saw, but did garner an Academy Award nomination for Andrea Riseborough,
Okay, great.
quite surprisingly.
Sure.
This was like the Colin campaign.
No, I remember
Gwyneth and Edward
her
Norton were like,
being
see
nominated.
this film To Leslie.
And me being like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed Bridget Jones 4 would be how he would follow this up. He is British, though.
I think so when I Googled him. Yeah.
And in addition to Zellweger, Hugh Grant and Colin Firth apparitionally are back.
No.
Emma,
Oh yeah.
Emma Thompson is back.
Hugh Grant is
alive.
He's back.
back.
He's back.
He's,
Yeah, I have
he
a lot
is
to
alive.
say about him. He's wonderful.
Okay.
Chiwetel Ejiofor and Leah Woodall, you may recall from The White Lotus season 2.
And Love Actually.
And Love Actually, and Prime Target, the new show on Apple TV. Leah Woodall having a little bit of a moment. Isla Fisher, weirdly,
Very
briefly.
It seems like they had a
something
whole
got
thing
cut.
with her and they cut her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was very funny. The
Yeah.
one thing she did.
And yeah, as you said, she is single.
Haley Atwell?
No,
that
that's Paddington in Peru you're thinking of, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Got
We'll
your
get there.
appealing
We'll get there.
British actresses
We'll get there.
confused.
Well, it is really random when Haley Atwell shows up in Paddington, and
It
I'd like
is.
to talk about it.
Bridget Jones is a TV producer?
Yes.
Yeah, she has
Well,
been since
at
the
this-
first
That's
film.
her job? Okay.
Yeah.
Here
I couldn't
she's,
remember
she's
that.
no longer working. She's a stay-at-home mom.
She's a
Right.
stay-at-home mom. She's got 2 children,
Yes.
11 and 8, something like that.
Yeah.
A boy and a girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
I don't even think 8. I feel like
7.
So, yeah, or something.
something
Yeah,
very
I-
young
I-
where she
I did
barely
text
knew
Amanda
the
this.
dad. I
And
think.
I want to be gentle about how I characterize this, but
Mhm.
next month Renee Zellweger will be 56,
Yes.
and so I couldn't really figure out like the
They
chronology
say
of
it
these
in the.
stories.
They say it in number 3. She's 43
when she has the first child,
the first
which is
child.
possible these
Yeah.
days.
So she was 47 when she had the second child.
It's
That's
it
I'm not
totally-
saying it doesn't happen.
That's
It
totally
definitely does happen. But
It's actually
it's a
way
little
more,
bit of a stretch.
It's way more common than you think. So the thing is that once you have one, it's quite easy to have later.
Let's ease up.
I don't
on
mean
quite
easy, but,
Yeah, well,
but
exactly.
I don't mean easy. But the thing about the first one is hard when you're older.
right.
But once you've had one, they do say that
Yeah,
age
dance
is less-
bursts.
yeah.
we got you. We got what you're
Yeah.
saying.
47's not dead, Sean. Jesus.
I am 42 and I'm
Yeah.
dead. So
Her
let me tell you.
uterus is functioning beautifully. And
Yeah, I mean that's the other tricky thing about it's like they do work until they don't.
Absolutely.
They made a nice, funny
I think
comment
it's more
about
like,
it.
there's a woman in her mid 50s raising young children by herself. That alone is like pure empathy. You know, I'm like, this has got to be fucking
It's like
hard.
LA.
But there's usually like one who's 32 and one who's 56. You know, it's not usually two 56-year-olds. And in this case, of course, she has lost her husband.
Pretty soon you're going to be the 56-year-old. So
yeah, but my daughter is going to be 17 when I'm 56. That's so different. 18.
When she drops, when she's dropping the kids off at school and she runs into Mr. Is it Waddington?
Wallaker?
Mr. Wallaker.
Yes, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor.
And he's blowing the whistle a bunch. And some kid comes up and is like, why is your granny wearing pajamas? So they do kind of like
that was the big
address
nod
it.
Yes.
Which I thought was good.
I appreciated
they
that
weren't like,
it.
this is normal. It's totally normal.
Right.
They said something.
They did. I don't want to make too much of it. It did jump out
Sure.
to me. I was like, I've been
yeah.
watching Renee Zellweger in movies for a very long time. Going back to like 1993. So anyhow.
And she was that exact age. I looked it up she was 43
at that time.
At the time of 3.
Okay.
And then
do you think they thought there would be a fourth when they made the third? Which was 9 years ago now.
Maybe that's why they put the newspaper part.
I mean, I think that's a good point because they do keep it open. I mean, when I saw the third, I remember thinking, oh, interesting. They've like decided to take this like off book in like a happier direction because 4 is just like so devastating. And I was like, oh, I'm actually happy to see this character that I like get a slightly happier ending than what we see. So I don't know.
Did you like the movie? Really like it? Love it?
The fourth?
Yeah.
I loved it.
I really liked it.
Okay.
But I am like fully aware that I'm just like in the Bridget Jones Matrix, and was also crying a lot.
Yeah.
So
is it as good as 1? Of course not.
No.
Is it nearly as good as 2? I'd say it's on par with 2.
I mean, it is just a different movie, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious, what do you think? Not as a man, but as a movie watcher, because
a film critic.
Yeah.
I thought it was solid. It's very long.
It's very long.
It is long.
Very long for a movie like this. And I tend to think a movie like this is a really good 1 hour and 43-minute movie. And it felt a bit extended in its set pieces. You know, there's a long camping sequence where I was like, we are really making us wait for the payoff here.
That's how they fall in love.
But it's a rom-com. I mean, we know where we're going here.
It's more that like Chiwetel Ejiofor, who is the new Mr. Darcy character, doesn't have anything to do for the first 90 minutes.
It's true. Yeah.
They're kind of like hoping to trick you into thinking he's not the romantic lead, but it's very obvious the first time he comes across the screen. Leo Woodall,
I thought he was great.
He's very handsome.
Yeah.
And they gave him ample opportunity to show it off.
I had not really seen him before because I didn't do One Day. Oh, no, I didn't watch White Lotus. I am thinking about doing the 3rd season.
Yeah.
Season 2 is really good.
It's really good. And
Really
he's
good.
great.
Okay, well,
I
really liked season 2.
These gays are trying to kill me.
He is hilarious in season 2. His character particularly is very good.
Anyway, he has the charisma. When he shows up in the tree climbing, I was like, oh, I get this. Okay.
Yeah, is he like
he's not
every
like
55-year-old mom's dream man? That's kind of what the movie is pitching.
For me, he looks a bit young, even for a 42-year-old.
I thought so as well. But also, like, he showed up on screen and I was like, I get it. As opposed to the idea of you guy. What's his name? Nicholas Gazeltine? I was just like, no.
Gallatin,
that's the Anne Hathaway movie. I didn't see it.
Yeah. But it's you either have it or you don't. And he has it.
Yeah,
and his acting, I thought the part where he came back after ghosting, he did a good job. Like, that acting was pretty good. Like, you believed it. I thought he did a great job. Yeah. I have to say, I don't want to hear what you guys have to think. The Chiwetel Ejiofor, is that how you say it? It did feel like they didn't develop that enough. Like, that was the one part where I was like, I'm not buying that you're in love. It didn't.
That's sort of what I'm saying.
I know,
they're like making us sit in this relationship, and
I get
it's not
it that
flowering.
he's a Mr. Darcy, and I get that he like connected with the son, and that's
oh my god,
in her
sorry,
heart.
I forgot about the scene.
That's by far the best scene.
It's so
the
good.
performance you're talking about.
Yeah, when the kid is. I mean,
that was I was moved
holy
by that.
cow!
So Echoes of Love, actually, which
it was.
Of course.
It was.
Yeah,
which seemed like a very
absolutely.
nod
Yeah,
to that
he was
thing.
Peter in Love Actually.
Yeah,
But yeah.
but I mean, but singing for the dead. I mean, I
just-
can't. I was like weeping.
Yeah,
And
that
then
part
the
is very
kids
good.
came with the-
There's too much in this movie, and I
It's a
was
little
like,
overstuffed. This
I
is
was
kind of
like,
a
this
classic,
is like my
like, fourth-
MCU
yeah.
problem, where I was like, okay, so you're trying to get like Shazzer and Jude and Tom, like the friends in, who are like barely in 3 because they're her
Because
30s friends,
also-
but like
Oh no, it's 2 that's Broke Down Palace.
Yeah,
Bridget Jones
yeah,
and the Broke Down
yeah,
Palace.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
3,
Yeah,
They
you've
have-
got this extended world, and you've got like actresses and actors like Jim Broadbent and Shirley
Right.
Henderson.
oh,
and
that
like
was so sad when the Jim Broadbent died.
I like
but
that scene a lot.
That was
That was a
great.
good
It was-
scene.
I mean, there was really, really good scenes.
That was another one of those God tier lines.
Yeah.
Like, promise me you'll live.
Yeah.
it's the same thing as in all the boy IP movies where they cast overqualified actors, and you
Yeah.
get one scene where you're like, holy
Holy
shit, Jeremy Irons is in
absolutely.
this,
He
and
was,
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
the dad the whole time.
Yeah.
no, I know. I think
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like throughout this whole series, by having
Right.
the Jim Broadbent
And
and the
so
Shirley
it's-
Hendersons, you're like, okay, this is always going to be never less than solid,
Right.
You know?
And so you want all of them in the movie.
Right,
You
and that's
like
what they're
want
trying
it-
to do.
Right, that's what they're trying to do. But it is like it's too much. And so you don't get as much time on the new characters, and you don't get as much time on and then they're like trying to bring in the perfect mom who I thought that was a funny character.
Persian representation. We love to see it.
yeah.
And the perfect nanny seemed like another slightly under like a thing where they filmed a lot more and cut
that
it out.
was Nico Parker.
Yeah.
Chloe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is there like a 4-hour cut of this film? It kind of feels like it.
Maybe it was supposed to be a TV show. I kept
would
thinking
watch
that
it.
it would have been a great series.
It opened
Like
in cinemas in England, so
Yeah,
I,
if I
the
get
fact that it
everything.
wasn't a streaming movie there is notable. But it, it has that feel of like the extensions of early aughts
Right.
shows become or films become
Right.
shows. So you could be onto something.
Can I ask one more question?
You can ask as many questions as you'd like.
I love it here. Marmalade sandwiches. What crossed my mind, and again, the feminism sometimes does be re-entering my body, where I was like, I know it's not a Bridget Jones thing to do, but I was like, it would have been so interesting to have it end with no love match. Like to be like,
I don't need this.
I don't need, or like, which is again, not to galaxy brain. Then it's like, it's too feminist. Like, women hear me. I don't need anyone. But like,
right.
I was trying to think of how they, or even like, honestly, for her to end up with Leo Woodall
right.
would have been really
Yeah.
interesting because he did clearly. He wasn't like the Daniel Cleaver character where it was so clear that he was just like a womanizing shitbag and like she shouldn't end up with him. Like he actually seemed like a viable.
He's
and
just
he
like
was,
a ghosty Gen Z kid.
Yeah.
But he came back and he was like, I'm ready for it. I want to be a stepdad. And like, and I was like,
you can't do that.
why are you trouncing on my dream?
You can. I would love that for you.
I plan to
Emily
Aaron
Woodall.
Taylor Johnson. And if any Aaron Taylor Johnsons are watching, I'm here. Also an artist.
I think they
That's right.
like they did that whole last scene where it's like it's about
Yeah,
everyone
community,
it's about community
right.
and like everyone's in the kitchen and it's a very sweet New Year's party.
I did love the Italian womanizing 16-year-old
Oh
son.
yeah,
That was great.
really really funny. Enzo and so like Chiwetel Ejiofor is like there and you're signaled that he's the partner
he's
or whatever,
playing
but
the game.
it's like not emphasis.
Auld Lang Syne
It's
on
not
the piano.
like it's not like 3 and 2 and like the rest end with just like Mark Darcy, and this is more like, look at my beautiful life, and it's
Right.
going to be okay. But I mean, I agree with you.
I'm not a
I
criticism
liked
per
his speech
se.
in the snow.
Yeah, it was. They were like, what kind of Mark Darcy would he be?
Yeah.
and he's
And
a
I mean, it
scientist.
echoes the first, Mark Darcy
Newton's
in the
law
snow.
of third law or whatever.
Right.
I feel that we're not giving enough attention to Hugh Grant,
Oh,
who's
but let's
on
talk
about
one of the
Hugh Grant.
great unbroken streaks of success in movies in the last 10 years.
Unbelievable.
He
He's
never
very,
has
very
shown,
funny in this
I'm sorry,
movie.
but he's never shown up once for me in a film that I wasn't like absolutely yes, standing ovation.
Amen.
He's a great movie star.
He's so charming, Chris. And Helen Fielding, I did a little research as I do. She said that he writes a lot of his own lines.
You can
Yeah.
kind of tell
Yeah.
Yes.
it feels like his press tour in the movie.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. It's a really interesting thing though, because it is this has always been true of this character as I remember it, but it is the inverse of the persona. I mean, it is him almost
Yeah.
like rejecting the bumbling, adorable Brit thing that he trademarked, you know.
And when he did it in the original Bridget Jones Diary in 2001, it's like right after Notting Hill.
Right.
And like he's doing it with Richard Curtis, it's almost like, okay, finally we get to be he's always talked about it like I get to be closer to who I actually am.
Very
see
few
Elizabeth
men
Hurley.
have ever been more gorgeous and attractive than Hugh Grant in Bridget Jones 1. Or honestly in Notting Hill or in Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Yeah.
Or I could,
it's
he's
really, really powerful.
Truly,
but he also looks fantastic.
He looks amazing.
In this, I just want to say across the board, everyone over the age of 50 looks amazing in this movie, including Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson looks gorgeous.
Yeah, who's got like the Miranda Priestley hair at this point.
They have hair and makeup in these films, you know.
No.
But like they don't always get it right, as you never notice.
Allow me to point something out.
These people
since
are
we're
rich
talking
movie
about
stars who are
British-
beautiful, and
No,
that's why they're in the business.
But the thing about Renee Zellweger is that she looks her age, but phenomenal, which is not the same as
agree.
looking. And also, let me say one thing about the British canon, which I believe so firmly and strongly in. They still keep their teeth.
Yeah.
American movie stars, please relax on the veneers. I can't take it anymore. I can't watch another film.
I needed to hear this because I was thinking the other day about maybe I would do some teeth. I know I can't.
It's
First
so
of all,
charming.
first of all,
Hugh Grant has
it's
his regular
expensive.
messed up
YouTube insidious
No, it
feeling
is.
that
Of course it
creates.
is.
Yeah.
No, it's actually that I was just like watching Instagram and someone was like, "Here's how they put it on
First
your
of all, your
I'm
teeth
not
are
gonna do it.
perfect.
They aren't, but thank you. But
I have a bit of a British situation on the bottom, and you know what? That's fine.
I have sort of like a Ben Affleck, they're just like a little small, you know? And so Ben Affleck got that money.
Go back and watch, like, what is my favorite After Hours?
The Martin Scorsese movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
The teeth are teething in that
listen.
movie.
Yeah.
And you look, Nicolas Cage, what happened, babe? He was so wonderful. And then what he made, it was so good.
Kirsten Dunst has kept her teeth,
Yeah,
and that's
it's
really
just
important.
It's just so charming.
Yeah, I think people should do what they want to do, honestly.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
they should do
I
what
think
they
that's
want to do.
your
If you
right.
want to get
Yeah.
veneers, honestly,
I don't
I'll
wanna
make a
get
point of
veneers
it every episode
it
forever,
is-
but you should do it.
it
Both my
is
parents
so
have them,
much
so
money.
every day in my house, I'm like, okay, we're at the TV set.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
There is a good
They look great, my parents. If you're watching.
so another subplot in this movie, because there are too many. There are like 45,000, but one of them is the TV producer, the TV show where Bridget goes back to work with her friend.
Talitha, I believe is the woman character's name.
And they're doing like the 4th hour of the Today Show, but in the UK. And they talk about like how the HD camera is like the worst invention for TV presenters of all time, which is very true.
So true.
We talked about it recently on an episode. Jack and I were just talking about like filters. Shout out, Jack, for all the work that you're going to
Thank you
do. And
so much,
let
Jack.
Jack know if you guys know about filters. Or let me know.
We're doing
we're
our
all
best
learning together
out here.
We're doing our best. And then the lip thing was funny. It was funny.
Especially because it was like she got ghosted. Let's
Yeah.
help you out. The implication was like you could, if you're just hotter, you wouldn't get ghosted.
Interesting double feature potential here with Baby Girl, I feel.
I thought about Baby Girl while I was watching.
Are you pro or
I'm like
anti?
total neutral
Okay.
on Baby Girl. I thought it was like
Did you watch Harris Dickinson's Criterion Closet?
Yes, and he is so hot.
I mean,
and
it's like
I
unreal.
could not. Harris
It's good,
Dickinson.
it's good we
It's
can all have a little
it's like
bit. on
really
that one.
Dickinson,
powerful, but
are
just
you
like,
watching? I'm here.
Do
Just
you
letting
feel
know.
threatened though?
Threatened
it's
by
like,
what?
It's like,
could a man so beautiful also be such a
yeah,
cinephile
well,
dork?
it's just kind of like
it is like you're on my corner, handsome
yeah,
guy.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like none of the rest of you can pull that off.
Yeah,
you know.
no.
So-
I mean, for me, it's just like ball knower salute.
Right,
like I
right.
gotta say,
Yeah,
like, this,
yeah, yeah.
this man is recommending obscure Filipino cinema to hot women around the world. This is super cool.
He really sealed the deal
Yeah.
for me on
Just
that
keep.
one.
I mean, we need more men like him. To be honest with you,
couldn't agree more.
I was just reading. I didn't realize that Baby Girl is a big hit in England as well, and in
makes
Europe,
sense.
it's doing very well financially.
That
It did
makes
okay in
sense.
the U.S., but
Europeans are more sexually free and pro age gap
I
relationships.
do think I do think that is a huge factor. Is it just feels like a very French movie in a lot of
Totally.
ways,
Yes.
and of course
and like
the
a
filmmaker
French
is Dutch.
understanding of. Or a European understanding of America, and
Totally.
even like
Yeah.
this
The
slightly
girl
simplistic
bossness.
girl boss,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes,
And
that
then let's
stuff
just
would
like
play
add
well
a lot
there.
of sex. Yeah.
Agreed.
Amen.
Let's pivot to something more childlike.
Okay.
Paddington in Peru. We
have
are
marmalade
gifted by
sandwiches?
marmalade sandwiches by you or by you? By you.
That's
By
Yasi,
Yasi.
very
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
you. Thank
of
you.
course.
I don't know that I've ever had just a straight up marmalade sandwich.
Me neither. I was just trying to be true to this. I looked it up.
I don't know if I've ever had marmalade.
Oh, I've definitely had
Marmalade's great.
Marmalade's
Okay.
great.
It's
yeah.
brown bread, specifically
Okay.
whole wheat bread. So that's what I got. I
And
looked it up.
That is what Paddington likes.
Yes.
Paddington, of course, is a bear.
Yeah.
He's a bear from, as you would read
The
in the story,
Peruvian.
Darkest Peru.
Darkest Peru. Is that a
Darkest
real place? Did you look it up?
I believe it's just a reference to Peru, but more like within Peru, there is undiscovered country.
It does
As
feel
we learn in this film.
lightly racist, but I'm
Yes.
gonna let it
There is
go.
definitely some
Yeah.
colonialist
Absolutely.
vibes to
Yeah.
the story, and there,
Uh-huh.
Paddington as like the lost immigrant is definitely
That's
a
right.
sub theme in the original story.
Yes.
Learning to assimilate in the Brown
movie,
family.
we reread the original story last night, and they
I
don't
read it like every day.
they don't really get into the
No.
politics
they
of
don't.
it
But
all.
they don't.
in
But
the
it has
story.
it's like they found him
Yeah.
at the train station
Yes.
and he's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
orphaned and
Right.
like it's kind of a classical stand-in for
right.
a boy from another country, basically.
In
Yeah.
the original movie, though, they draw the parallels to World War II, and
Right,
they're like they
the
sent the
heading.
tag, and so they sent kids away, and were like, please take care of
So
this
that's
kid,
not
which
in the book.
makes me cry. No, that's not in the book.
Okay, yeah,
that was
maybe
added.
forget.
The book is very slim.
Got it.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
watched-
it actually has a lot of words. But
yes, I read it all the time.
I mean, it's like it is one of the when the child requests original Paddington. It's like, are you going to do the edited version, or are you putting away
Sure.
15
I
minutes?
can't do the
'Cause,
edited
you
version
do
anymore because my
accents?
daughter knows every word to every story.
No, Knox says 2 now.
I will do tonal shifting.
Me too.
But
Yeah.
no British accents
More
for
excited
this.
if it's a
Yeah.
female character, a different register.
Excuse me.
What?
That's wow.
Sean's like, I go more shrill
Well, I'm not doing
whenever
Mrs.
there's a woman
Doubtfire.
speaking.
Yeah, just more annoying is really what I go for. No, just like
Don't give these
does
YouTube
the energy
commenters
go up?
any more
Does the,
fuel to their
yeah,
fire.
it's sure.
do I go like that? No, I don't
Okay.
do that. Paddington Peru.
I do
third
actually
Paddington
do that
movie.
for the dads. The dads talk like this.
Yes, there
yeah.
you go.
And you'll see sighs like eyes light up. I don't know whether like he's a budding misogynist or whether it just gets his attention. Where he's just
He's
like,
a
hey,
gender
a
essentialist
man
like
is
all of us.
talking.
Yeah.
Kids love performance, and they love Paddington. This is the third Paddington movie. It's directed by Dougal Wilson. The first Paddington movie, not directed by Paul King,
Mhm.
who really made his name as a filmmaker on the first 2 Paddington films. I would say especially Paddington 2, which is
Yes.
one of the most beloved movies of the 21st century.
It's one of the best films of all time. if you
Many
ask
people
me.
are saying that.
Yes.
I don't know
It
if I'm
is.
quite at that level, but I do like it quite a bit.
It's wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful.
This movie had a lot to live up to because of the reputation
Sure.
of the first 2 Paddington films. Paul King still did work on the story
Yeah.
before moving on to Wonka,
Didn't see it.
which is a movie that I don't like, but Amanda does.
Okay.
Oh, you like
um,
it?
I cried.
Is it
I
not a
mean,
musical?
It is. It's
Hmm.
more musical than even these movies, so you might not like it.
Okay.
Hugh Bonneville's back.
Mhm.
Julie Walters is back. Jim Broadbent is back. Olivia Colman is here.
Yes.
Antonio Banderas is here.
Yes.
Love it.
And of course, Ben Whishaw has returned as the voice of Paddington.
Right.
But who's not back?
Yeah.
That I was so upset
This is
and angry.
So I didn't know this, and I sat
I didn't
down.
know it either. You didn't know it
and I
either,
was
right?
like- I was like, "Excuse me," and I also had to like go get popcorn for Knox because I took Knox to his second theater experience of all time to see this movie, and I bribed him with popcorn to sit through all of it. So I was like, "Did I miss? Is this like Mrs. Brown's sister? Like what's going on?" And they just like hard recast Sally Hawkins.
As Sean put it, they Aunt Viv'd it.
like-
Yes, this is a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air situation where one day you turned on the Fresh Prince and Aunt Viv was just played by a completely different actress. And they did kind of acknowledge it.
They winked. This was my biggest criticism. Like, how easy would it have been to write a funny little line when Paddington is like, "Mrs. Brown, did you cut your hair? You
Yeah.
look different." That alone might have mollified me, but I was angry the whole time.
I was
also like,
confused.
I know the difference between Sally Hawkins and Emily Mortimer, 2 great
Em-
actresses.
Well, the thing is
Exactly.
that
Love and
Emily Mortimer
respect.
is great.
We
so
love
it's
her.
kind of
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
because you're like, I know who that is. This isn't just a random British lady
Right.
who
Right.
kind of looks like Sally Hawkins. Like they
But she
just
doesn't look like Sally Hawkins is the other thing.
She does. So it's I guess
mean, they
it's
have-
more noticeable.
Yeah, they have dark hair.
Yeah, but blue eyes, isn't she?
I mean,
Emily Mortimer.
I'm with you. I was just kind of like,
I was
please don't
mad.
insult her.
It's a bit strange.
It's like the one thing that insults the audience's intelligence.
This is
in
going
the-
around, with
Yeah.
Harrison Ford replacing William Hurt and Mark Ruffalo replacing Edward Norton in
Did
Captain
you get
America
any
4.
Tinseltown intel from the biz about why Sally Hawkins didn't do
Been
it?
pounding the pavement, been knocking on doors. Can't get any word on this. Where is Sally
Where
Hawkins
is
and why is
Sally
she not
Hawkins?
available? I'm sure somebody out there knows why. Anyhow, this third movie, an adventure film.
Yes.
Paddington headed back to old Peru to find out what's going
Yeah.
on with his aunt.
With Aunt Lucy.
Aunt Lucy, something's happened to her. She's disappeared. She's contacted him. The whole Brown family needs to go on an adventure. They're stuck in the malaise of middle age for the parents and adolescence for the kids. Mix it up. Be fearless. Hugh Bonneville, I don't know. He's doing something in the corporate world.
And that's why Haley Atwell's
Haley
there.
Atwell plays his boss.
I missed that scene. Okay.
She's an American girl boss.
Yeah, she
kind
comes
of a baby
in.
girl situation also for her.
Sure. No sexual.
I totally missed that
undertones,
scene. So at the end, when she's just like in the boardroom, I was like, what is going
does
on
appear
with my
earlier
British
in the
wife?
movie.
Yeah.
She comes in. She's like, we must embrace risk.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the big thing.
Which I would say plot-wise, not coherent, but that's okay. The family decides to go to Peru together. They get into some adventures.
Yeah.
Some shit
Yeah.
goes down. I also saw this movie with my kid. She loved it, but was absolutely terrified for about 18 minutes in the third act.
Yeah. What part was terrifying for her?
Just as soon as there was like storming and they were on the boat and the boat was getting destroyed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
that was
that's-
like, she was like, no. She
Who's
was like, get me
driving?
out of here.
I will
Yeah.
say this morning when I asked Knox, because, we're in a phase of life where you can't like ask direct questions and like get answers. So after the movie,
That's
I was like,
called
did
for
you
the
like
rest
it?
of your life. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, sure. But this morning I was like, hey, do you remember what movie we saw? And he said Paddington in Peru. And he said, there was yellow in the boat. And I was like, oh, do you mean the life jackets? He said, yes, they were yellow in the boat. So I guess that also did stay with him.
It's really funny. The life jackets also resonated in our home because Alice keeps doing this to represent life jackets, which I thought was pretty creative. What did you think of Paddington in Peru, Yasi?
Well, much like Bridget Jones, I will watch 27 more Paddingtons of varying levels of being good, and I will enjoy all of them. I had a great time. Once I got over the Mrs. Brownness of it all, I thought it was an anti-capitalist, pro-immigration tome, which is a cool thing to do, to indoctrinate the children. El Dorado, it's oranges.
Yeah.
It's not gold, babe.
I enjoyed that as well.
That was lovely. I love these movies.
I do too. I think Antonio Banderas is also having, to a lesser extent, a Hugh Grant year.
He was
doing great in
very
Baby
well,
Girl.
of course. He recurs in Baby Girl.
He was one of the better parts for me of Baby Girl.
There's something kind of weird in this where he's playing a somewhat similar character in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, where he's
I had
also a man
completely
with a
forgotten
boat.
that.
I
had like literally
Isn't
that
that
doesn't
kind
exist.
of odd?
Well, I didn't remember that.
Okay.
So
I think
these movies do they love other movies.
Yeah, they're
and they do
referenced.
homages
They
and
do.
they
That's true.
reference.
That's
So I
true.
mean, he even does like a little Zorro thing at one point, right?
Yeah,
With the
he
boat.
does. Yeah.
Respectfully of Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
I mean, he's
it's gonna be.
an
It's
actor
gonna
I've always
be.
loved, a
He's
former
gonna be
guest of this
Antonio
show.
Banderas. We love.
He's
I love. He
fantastic.
still looks gorgeous.
And he brings an energy that is fun to the movie, but I think actually kind of scared Alice a little bit because the
Oh.
multiple versions of Banderas was
Sure.
a little
It's
intense.
pretty.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty sinister. Also, I did get upset about his name. What was his name in the movie?
Cabot, Hugo.
Yeah, but it was actually Caballo, right?
I was like,
Oh, yeah.
this man is Peruvian. His last name is Cabot.
I mean, I did.
and it was like
also.
Martin Cabot or
I think
something.
it was meant to
No,
be
it's
that
like
there were-
Mr. Hunter, Mr.
Right.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there had been like maybe a Spanish conquistador in his family,
Sure.
but then also an
Yeah.
American prospector. I think they were trying to show that,
Right.
Yeah.
the immigration throughout the family lineage.
Great boat.
Great boat.
I mean, the production design in
It
these
looks
movies
good. It's
is-
fun.
Is wonderful.
It's very pretty.
Olivia Colman was phenomenal. I thought she's so enjoyable.
I laughed every single
Yeah.
time.
She
was
plays
on
a
set.
nun
She
with
is-
some suspicious
her
intention.
face
She is
acting.
locked in to the frequency of the
Yeah.
Paul King movies. It's really, really funny.
Agreed.
Also, like the Sound of Music, a whole like montage song, like
No.
very funny.
So
I laughed a
whatever
lot.
they're doing with however they make that Paddington bear CGI or
Mhm.
whatever, the minute he is lightly upset about something, I start crying. It is just the most moving.
I agree.
I love it. They're knocking it out of the park with
We're-
my Paddington CGI.
Is this the third best of the Paddington movies?
So
It's pretty different because of its locale.
Well, it's not. It doesn't have the whimsy
Yeah.
of the like locations of the first two, because like the Brown's apartment has all that
it's
like
so wonderful.
cuteness and whimsy,
Yeah.
and London in general is
It's
like
just-
such a
Even the
portrayed as
train
whimsical.
stuff in the second one is like more
What?
pink and colorful and
Yeah.
exciting, and some of that comes back. But I mean, this is like we're in the jungle in
Yeah.
this movie. It's kind of the apocalypse now of Paddington movies.
Okay, Heart of
I mean,
Darkness.
there is a Heart of
Yeah.
Darkness
That
quality
is
to
a
the
Heart of
movie.
Darkness.
Heart of Darkness.
and they're definitely doing like they also do Raiders at one point, which is very
Yeah.
funny.
Rolling giant.
I there was a boat and a plane. So in that sense, the 3-year-old I was with was like
Love it.
absolutely out of his mind,
Yeah.
excited. And then the orange stuff was so nice
So nice.
and friendly. And then they all make marmalade together.
I enjoyed that.
And
And
the-
then
and
the
it's like
speech, the
my
ending
tribe
speech.
and my family.
I
and
wept. I was literally weeping.
yeah,
in
and
the
then they
theater
all
when he
get
was
to, and then everyone goes
Cry.
to London.
So I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
Yasi and I saw this at the same screening.
Yes.
And Yasi met Eileen. Yasi met Alice. She'd not met them before.
Best day of my life.
Eileen was very friendly, thankfully.
Okay.
Alice, a little less friendly, as you know, first
Thankfully?
timers.
Sure.
You never know with Eileen.
So beautiful.
she is.
Sean's wife.
Yes, yeah.
I was taken aback.
Yeah.
I used to have it back in the day. Not so
I
much
did-
anymore,
there
but I'm
was
holding on tight.
no implication there. Just
Uh,
praising your gorgeous wife.
Alice, a little shy around Yasi. And then we didn't speak of Yasi until 2 nights ago,
Okay.
where we're sitting at the dinner table, me, Eileen, and Alice, and she said, Dad, I need to make a podcast with Yasi. Talked about Yasi for 30 minutes straight. Said, Dad, I need to see pictures of Yasi.
Okay.
We need to talk about Paddington.
Okay. Yes.
And is pretty obsessed right now.
That's awesome.
So
That's really special.
Once
yeah,
again,
yeah,
I
yeah,
did
yeah.
cry when he sent me
Yeah.
a video of this. And
Yeah.
I'll say something. I'm very popular with children. Can't explain it. But one thing I've noticed is I have very long hair.
Mhm.
And young children associate that with princesses.
Yes.
And so often I have a bit of a leg up over other adults.
Yeah.
And I would say Yasi also has a princess name vibe.
Totally.
You
And I
know?
have a childlike whimsical energy about myself.
I see it as well. I understand the response, but that's very exciting. Alice doesn't just choose anyone.
I literally cry. And
Yeah.
then the cutest
She's
was,
a bit picky, to be
yeah,
honest.
she is.
I mean, I'm going to put aside how alarmed I am that she's like, I want to make a podcast because that's what
Yeah.
you
This
do.
is a whole other thing.
It's
Like
a
this
family-
week, she was like, "I want to be a movie director."
Yeah.
Like, I don't even.
That's
I'm not
better.
even like
I'm just
telling
gonna
her. I'm not like,
yeah,
dear,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
We don't
Steven
need to
Spielberg
curse.
in 1987.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing
We
that
don't
with
need
her.
to curse
but
anyone to become a podcaster.
I think
when
she's
they
just
grow up.
she's absorbing
Sure.
the general experiences of our
Right.
lives, and
Yeah.
she's thinking that this is what anyone does. You know,
Knox just likes to use microphones. So anytime he can like scrabble up and
Love
get
it.
access to my home microphone, he'll sit there and he's like, I do a podcast.
Dead. He's
Yeah.
going to be a star. They're both going to be stars.
I hope not.
She's,
Paddington 3 is a really fun movie, a good family movie, and also a good movie if you don't have a family. Honestly, they're just really well made.
They
Yeah.
are like they're
I tried to
best
borrow a
family.
child to take with me to the
Yeah.
screening, but my little nugget Leo was unavailable,
Okay.
so I
Leo
did.
Woodall. He wasn't
Leo
involved.
Woodall.
Yeah.
He was
Your little
not.
nugget.
Harrison Dickinson didn't. He was busy that day. He was in the Criterion closet. And I went with my adult friend, and we had a blast.
It's a good movie.
Can we close the loop on Hugh Grant and
Oh,
his year at
yeah.
the movies?
Yes, of course, that's right. He there's so
Knox
many
was
intersections
so
of this movie. Jim Broadbent in this
excited.
movie as
Yeah.
well.
Knox
yeah.
was just like Knox started pointing. It was like him, hey, Paddington.
From
you know?
Paddington, knowing Paddington
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
because I
okay.
mean that's obviously
That was
our favorite.
Post credits,
It
right?
was.
It was.
Yeah.
I might have missed it if I hadn't come to like. Because remember,
Hang,
the theater
yeah.
was empty when we saw that happen. I came to hang and talk to
Oh,
Island
yeah,
Alice,
yeah.
and we were just like chatting, and then all of a sudden, empty
Yes.
theater
Yeah.
comes up here. I'm like, I'm so glad I caught this.
That's something that always happens for us because Alice is like, I want to stay for the credits for everything. Like even if we watch a movie at home, so
Taught
I'm,
her
glad, I'm
well.
glad it worked out. And
Yeah.
now she knows about stingers, which is great for her.
Mhm.
She can get right into the MCU now. We can start right off
Yeah.
with the Incredible Hulk.
Once again, Hugh Grant, very funny.
He did great.
Yeah.
He's an international treasure.
Yeah, it's funny. It does feel like, I mean, this is perhaps a segue to our conversation, that there's like 87 people making movies together in England, and they're all doing the same stuff in different tones,
Right,
different
they crossed
genres.
over, yeah.
But then their worlds are all
They
interconnected.
have 87 of the best people.
They're
I
very
have to
good
say.
at what they do. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's a long and storied history of British cinema. We're not talking about that today.
Theater. No, with Neil and I today.
We're not talking about
No.
Noel Coward and
I
David
just need
Lean,
you guys
and
to
we're
know.
not talking
With
about all
Neil
those
and I,
wonderful people.
Watch it at home.
With Neil and I just announced to join the Criterion Collection this morning.
It's just now?
It was
just
not-
in time for
yeah.
me to go to the
What's
closet.
wrong with that?
There was an Arrow release for a long time,
No
which
one
is very
cares.
good. Arrow,
No.
British company.
No.
Also announced how to get ahead in advertising,
Okay.
which is also stars Richard E.
Sure.
Grant, another
Yes,
Bruce
yes.
Robinson
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah.
Also announced another British filmmaker, one of your favorite filmmakers, The Three Musketeers and the Four Musketeers by Richard Lester, who
Amazing.
of course directed A Hard Day's Night.
Yeah.
Criterion, just a banner morning. Thank you to them. 21st Century British movie canon. As I said, films with British stars and or directors, filmed in England or in the extended kingdom, detailing British aspects of life, from love to crime to war to governance.
Sure.
What do you think of that?
Are you counting Australia and Canada?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I
Thank
think
God,
that's a separate
because you know
vibe.
how I feel about Australia in that
Yeah.
sense.
I mean, Australia and Canada are not parts of the kingdom anymore.
Well, at one point.
I think that the
so-
queen
so
is,
are
or
large
the king is
parts
still
of
on the
India
money.
and Africa. We're not
No-
really
No,
talking about that.
but I think that the king is still on the money.
Yeah.
In
and
which
not
country?
In Canada and
Prince
in,
Charles is on the money in
well,
Canada?
Well,
he's
he's the
King
king
Charles
now.
Well, the Queen
King
was
Charles?
for sure.
God, I'll
Not
never
shout
gonna-
out Prince Charles Cinema, by the way.
Yes. Hopefully they're doing well.
Yeah.
Please
They're trying
support
to
them.
save
Can you
that.
still
Yes.
sign the petition?
I don't know.
But if you can, go
Yeah,
do
if
it.
you
If
can
you-
do, if you
Have you
live in
been?
the UK.
To the UK?
No, to the
No,
Prince
to the-
Charles.
No, but I'd like to.
It's really cool.
I honestly, Paul the programmer is the best in the business.
He is. It's a great place, and I hope more people are
Yeah.
patronizing
Not
it.
to get the sub mad at you, but
The sub?
Ireland is not part of, as you know, only Northern Ireland.
I don't think I included any
Yes.
Irish films here.
You
I
didn't-
don't think
you
I
didn't
did
put
either.
the one that you just talked about in the musical.
Oh, Sing Street?
Not what did we just say? It was nominated for Best Picture.
Oh, Kneecap.
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 You did
It
put
is
it.
cited as Best British Film
Okay.
Yeah.
at the BAFTAs.
I got yelled
Okay.
at a
In
lot
their
on,
eyes,
on
it
my
is.
sub for this, so I'm just now hyper aware.
Well,
Okay.
To be respectful.
It's a thorny issue that has
It's-
provoked
Well, but they're
significant
from,
strife
so
over the years.
Kneecap is Belfast, right?
It is,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
in Northern
So
Ireland.
that's
Yeah.
it's
Got it.
very
Got
complicated. I recommend the TV show Say Nothing.
Yes, wonderful TV show. Shout out, Brad.
Okay, so I've broken this into a handful of categories. You've added some categories as well, hopefully. Thank you. This is all gender essentialist, generational,
Mhm.
and frankly,
This is like 45 of my favorite
overstated,
movies.
but we will be naming a lot of good movies. The categories are for the lads,
yeah.
for the lasses,
Mm-hmm.
for the normies, for the cinephiles,
hmm
and for Gen Z.
Gen
Yeah.
Z. You mean Gen Z, I think.
Gen Z. It was very easy for me to make the list for the lads.
I mean,
this was one of
yeah.
the easiest jobs I've ever had on this podcast.
Yes.
Every movie I name is a movie that I care about deeply.
I think that you've claimed a couple that go beyond the lads.
Yeah,
Well,
24-hour party people is not a for the lads.
What is
movie.
it for? Who's it for? in this
Music
category?
loving people.
But that's not one of the categories.
Yeah,
I'm just trying
I
to
think
squeeze it in.
Tinker Tailor
Yeah.
is broader for
Tinker Tailor is a film that
it's also
barely features a single woman.
but it's also for dads.
It is
and it's
for the dads.
Yeah, for the
For
dads.
the lad dads.
Yeah, lad
the dad
dads.
lads. Okay.
In the loop is for anyone who likes to laugh.
Everyone can come into the lad tent.
Okay.
Come join us in the lad tent where we also have the film Snatch.
Yeah.
Of course, we
Movie.
love Guy Ritchie
Sure.
here in
Love
America,
Guy
in
Ritchie.
Britain. The Cornetto trilogy, we love the Edgar Wright movies, especially that trio. Layer Cake, which Chris would take a bullet for Sienna
Fab-
Miller in that film.
Fabulous movie.
In Bruges, which is from an Irish-British filmmaker, Martin
Okay.
McDonagh. He kind of straddles the line.
Okay.
Sexy Beast, really any Jonathan Glazer movie,
Yeah.
but some of them are for the cinephiles and some of them are for the lads.
Yeah,
You're
but
gonna
is
get
it
yourself
but-
in some hot water with these distinctions.
yeah, I was gonna say also like isn't what's the Nicole Kidman one? Birth?
Birth, yeah.
Yeah,
Birth,
Birth is like a New York.
It is.
So
it is.
I mean, I
it
understand
has a
that he's
distinctly British sensibility, I would say.
sure, but like it's
Danny
not.
Houston being an American with a British accent has always been
I mean,
confusing
I
to
think
me.
like I think Birth is like the most underrated of the
Yeah, phenomenal
maybe the best
film.
of the Jonathan Glazer films, but it's not on this canon. In
Okay.
this canon,
Kill List, the Ben Wheatley movie.
sure, yeah,
In the Loop, you mentioned. Attack the Block.
yeah.
Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Danny Boyle movie that the lads like. And Four Lions, Chris Morris's incredible comedy. For the lasses, I took a shot at a couple, and then you've added
Okay.
some more. Do you guys want to talk through these? Do you think that there should be more? I think you could do more, honestly, on this list.
You could do more.
Where's Four Weddings?
Well, it's 94, so
Oh,
this
right,
is
right,
yeah. I mean,
21st
that's
century.
the thing.
Yes,
is
these
that,
are all movies in the last 25 years.
Yeah,
I'm a Love Actually truther, just so you guys know.
and like a
Like, I love it.
In that
I
the
don't care.
truth is
Okay.
that it's fucking terrible and should be abolished from society.
no. Here's the thing: it's powerful, and
I
I,
don't know if we
like
can
watch
be.
it every
I don't know
year.
if we can be friends anymore.
It's like
Okay, I'll tell
I mean,
Alice.
it's deeply problematic.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh God, not Bechdel test. Leave me alone. Let me
No,
just
it's
enjoy
not
a
even-
film.
it's not even a Bechdel test. It's just like how many different secretaries can we have affairs with? You know what I'm saying?
Listen, if the shoe fits, babe.
Okay, it's true.
This is how they be.
Emma Thompson, all time
All
in that
time.
movie, really, really beautiful.
Mhm.
Listen, we talked about this, and you know, like in many ways, you can't have Landman without Love Actually. So, because the Billy Bob Thornton character is just sort of, that's what happens next. It's
Such
like,
good
it's like
casting.
George W. then and George W.
I hadn't
now.
really put that together, but that makes a lot of sense.
So there you go. Okay, so Love Actually, obviously. Atonement. Where are you on Atonement?
I could only watch it the one time because it's devastating, but I did really like it.
Had you read the book? Did you know it was coming?
I didn't read the book.
Okay, so how did that twist work for you?
It was very painful.
Okay. Yeah. I'll never forget. I had the book is one of the great novels of our lifetimes, but like it's like buried in the last paragraph. And I read it, and then like 30 minutes later, just like started weeping uncontrollably in my parents' home. I'll never forget it. Okay, Atonement.
I haven't read it.
Wuthering Heights.
Love.
Love Actually. Joe Wright, Pride and Prejudice. About a Boy. Yes, it's the Hugh Grant of it all. Bridget Jones' Diary, the original, 2001. The Holiday, which, for the record, I do not endorse, but it's undeniable.
What do you think of The Holiday?
It's fine.
It's not very good.
The misuse of Kate Winslet.
I agree.
Yes. And
everything, like the 3 movies before and the 2 movies after Nancy Meyers,
right.
Great. Love them.
But The
That
Holiday
one,
is like sort of like the cults. Yeah, I mean, it is
I
like
know,
the
I know. It
Christmas
has a huge
aspect of
fandom.
it. People love it. Whatever.
It's no Hot Frosty.
Young Victoria.
Yeah, I like this movie too.
That's
Blunt.
a really good. Have you
Actually,
seen
I've
this?
not seen that.
Emily Blunt, Rupert Friend.
No.
Sort of.
It's
It's like
Jean-Marc Vallée,
pre-Crown.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-Crown, but like Crown-esque.
Got
Saw this
it.
on a plane one time, and I was like,
the
whoa,
edges
this is
sanded
gonna be
off.
better than I thought it was
it's
going
just
to be.
kind of like a romance. It's
All
pretty
right.
nice. Paul Bettany plays Lord Marlborough, I think,
Mhm.
Prime
Yes.
Minister. Yeah, it's a good movie. Okay, The Normies.
So these are the movies that break through. They're usually box office successes. They sometimes get awards attention. They feel distinctly British, I think, is the thing. They're almost about, say, the tropes of British life, dashing spies, the class system, the king, the queen.
The Empire.
Yes.
Why
the
are
British
disintegration of Empire?
Their spies are better than ours.
I think they're considered cooler for one obvious reason because, Casino Royale and Skyfall
Yeah.
are...
You had Casino Royale. I, as always, am the Skyfall stand. But it also
They're both great.
but
I think
Skyfall-
Casino Royale is more this
No, but like
because it was the first one.
but Skyfall is like about the Empire
It is.
and mommy issues, and it has the the shot of like all of the coffins and him like running through London like while they're doing Tennyson. Like it's about
But what
is,
you're
like,
talking about
the
are
UK.
high-minded ideas. And
Yeah.
you could make the case that Skyfall is for the cinephiles and the Casino Royale is for the normies.
Well, that's fine. It's on the list.
okay.
Skyfall is incredible.
1917.
It also has Javier Bardem.
It
Love
does.
him.
Mommy was very bad.
1917. Paddington 2.
Yeah.
Okay, do you guys know a little piece of trivia? How beloved Paddington is in the UK? That apparently when the Queen was ill, she did a little video.
Mhm.
Do you remember
It
this?
was for
she
her
had
Jubilee.
for her Jubilee, and she had tea and marmalade sandwich with Paddington, and there was like public outcry, people being like, "Paddington, no, she is you're an immigrant, Paddington.
Oh my God.
How dare you sit and take tea with the Queen?" Which I love that. People were really upset about Paddington
That's interesting.
aligning with the monarch.
To
It
power,
is like
yeah.
like Knox is fully Paddington pilled, but in large part because loved ones have gone to the UK, including like Chris Ryan, and they're just like the only souvenirs to buy.
There's a whole Paddington store.
I mean, but it's just like it's like
patronized
everywhere.
it.
They have like
Yeah.
fully
We
exported
don't have.
that.
Do we have one of those? You could say Mickey Mouse, but Mickey Mouse has no like
like
ethical and moral compass that I'm
National-
aware of. Like
well, just like America.
yeah, that's what I'm
It's just all
saying.
about
Maybe Winnie the
sales.
Pooh, but that's fallen on hard
Also,
times.
isn't Winnie the Pooh British?
Probably,
I tend to
yes.
think the Muppets occupy this space and like the Sesame
Yes.
Street Muppets.
That's
like,
a Sesame Street
Sure.
Muppets. That's a
Okay.
good.
kind of Big
Elmo?
Bird and
Yeah, Grover is giving us some life
I think
lessons
Big
for sure.
Bird and Kermit are kind of like the moral center
Yeah.
of those two properties.
Yeah, but they're like not as big as Paddington internationally.
No way.
Elmo is probably
yeah. I mean,
Like,
Big Bird
like,
is not what
the
he once
UK
was. I
is-
just saw Follow
Which
That Bird
Elmo's just like
recently,
a
and it was-
dumb kid. He doesn't
but
bring
like
anything
the
to the
UK
table.
is like
Yes.
trying to like is pushing Paddington like Big Sesame is pushing Elmo.
It's
Like
true.
Elmo is like doing SpawnCon with Roger Federer right now, which on the one hand, like target audience, on the other hand, like what are we doing?
Well, I think the thing that Elmo does that is nice is that he preaches a kind of sincerity that I think the world could use.
Which
from
is
time
what
to time.
Paddington
I
does
like
as well.
that. Paddington does the same
In a
thing.
less
I love
annoying way.
I love
but
Paddington. I love Elmo. I love
Okay.
Roger Federer.
Okay,
like, why
great.
are we advertising for On Running?
Grover would never, babe. That's all I'm saying. Elmo's
it's a good
uncle.
question about what are
We
the
don't have-
equivalents.
I
We
don't
don't
think we
really
have-
Like,
have
did they-
quite the
yeah.
same thing.
Sorry to bring it back to Paddington. We can continue to the canon.
Slumdog Millionaire, a bit of a thinker here. Obviously, not a film set in England, made by a distinctly English filmmaker, a huge hit,
Mm-hmm.
kind of sort of empire bound because of the history of India and England. I wasn't sure whether it should go in. It's a tougher call than something like Darkest Hour, which is,
Right,
of course,
which is
about
just
Churchill
about-
and, about that the country during
Yeah,
World War
yeah,
II.
yeah.
Same for the King's Speech and the Queen. These are very standard, entertaining,
Right.
sometimes better than average movies
I saw
about
the
this
Queen.
space.
I didn't say the King's Speech.
The King's Speech, has a dreadful reputation now because it beat The Social Network at the Oscars,
Sure.
but it's
And was
not
also
bad.
like a Harvey Weinstein engineer.
Well, he did leave some stains.
Did you like it when it came out?
Yeah, sure.
Who was the star? Colin Firth?
Colin Firth.
We love
Yeah.
And Guy Pearce.
Love Guy
Wonderful
Pearce.
Guy Pearce. in that
Oh,
movie.
right. He plays the
Brother who can't step up. What's that guy's name?
Uncle David is what they call him. What, Edward something? Yeah.
What a dick.
Uh,
Went off and married an
Helena
American
Bonham
movie
Carter
star.
plays the,
Oh yeah, I love
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Great
He's
story.
great in The
but,
Crown, too.
Yeah, what an asshole.
That's right.
For the cinephiles,
Mm-hmm.
there's been a lot of really good British films in the last 25
Yeah.
years. So ones that popped into my mind, you guys added some too. The Souvenir and part 2, I suppose. Weekend, Andrew Hayes
Mhm.
movie. I've got 2 Andrew Hayes movies here. 45 years this year. I guess All of Us Strangers should be considered
I was
too.
going to say, yeah.
Fish Tank.
Love Fish Tank. One of my
I mean-
faves.
Andrea Arnold's great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Hunger. Steve
Yeah.
McQueen's first film. Happy Go Lucky was my Mike Lee pick, and
It's
Okay.
one of my favorite Mike Lee movies. Maybe like top 3.
it's a favorite of mine as well, and I feel like it's the most British
Yes.
until Hard Truths, about life, and obviously a lot of his movies in the 80s and 90s and 70s even are about that.
Right.
But that one in particular is not like a period piece. Morvern Caller,
I love
Amazing movie.
Morvern Caller.
Bloody Sunday, Paul Greengrass's first
Mhm.
movie. The Deep Blue Sea, the late Terrence Davies. I don't know if it's not his most recent movie, but the movie before that with Rachel Weisz. You had a Dunkirk, which I think is a
I
great
did,
call.
yeah.
Now, Dunkirk to me occupies basically all of these categories.
Of course.
This
I
is
mean,
the
it's
rare
definitely
tic-tac-toe.
it's definitely Lad Dad.
Yes.
Lad Dad.
Lad Dad.
Um,
Yep. Something for
it's
the lasses with
definitely the
Hardy at the
normies.
end. The normies,
Sure.
of course, love Dunkirk.
Yeah.
Gen Z loves Dunkirk.
Gen Z.
Oh, that's right. Jen said, yeah.
An Education. Is an Education for cinephiles or for the lasses?
You know what? Please excuse me.
Excuse you.
It's really well made.
That my wife loves this movie. This is a
so,
huge favorite
Yeah.
of hers.
So why does it just have to
Why
be for
can
girls?
women enjoy all cinema because we are so superior,
You're right.
and
Just
men
because it's
can
about
simply
women?
cannot bear
It's
to
a
watch anything
coming-of-age
that doesn't have
story.
a war or a spy
Okay.
in it.
Yeah, great.
There you go.
Good for you guys.
Also featuring Emma Thompson. I mean, this is like another subset. Is like, does the movie have
Right.
Hugh Grant,
Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson,
Peter-
Tom Hardy,
Peter Sarsgaard pulling a Renee Zellweger in that movie. Very
Yeah.
credible British guy.
Keira
even though he's an
Knightley.
American.
Good. We love Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley, she's in
Anyway.
the Hall of Fame of these movies.
Yeah.
We love
And
Tom
then
Hardy
Phantom
as well.
Thread, you know,
Yeah, I say yes.
it is.
It is.
It's PTA,
One
but
of
it
my
is.
faves. One of my faves of all time.
For Gen Z, I'm glad you added this.
Yeah. Just because I don't need the children yelling at me about what a girl wants. I know. It's like very important
What is
to them.
what a girl wants?
So, Colin Firth is another person of like, if Colin Firth is in the movie.
Mhm.
So,
What a Girl Wants in my head is a Christina Aguilera
which
song.
and it is an incredible song, and I think it like What
There's
a
a
Girl Wants,
film?
the Aguilera song is tied to. So it's an Amanda Bynes film where Amanda Bynes finds out
Oh yes,
that her dad
yes.
is Colin Firth, and
Oh,
Colin
yeah.
yeah,
It's a great
and so then
movie.
she like goes to London.
It's actually a great
Oh,
movie.
okay.
Yeah,
Kind
Amanda
of some
Bynes.
Princess Sophia vibes there. Sophia the First.
Princess Sophia becomes a princess because her mom marries the king. Okay, it's not.
I
not
Yeah,
the
don't
same.
acknowledge that part of it.
it's like a combined, a joint family
Okay.
situation.
Have you seen Sophia the First?
No.
I watched it with Alice,
Amanda
and then
was not a fan.
And I mean, it was total garbage. I love
Who's
watching it
in
with
it?
Alice. It's like a computer CGI
No.
animated show.
I'm good.
And Sophia finds out that Sophia was not born a princess, but then she becomes a princess. And the episode that we watched was about Mother's Day and how Sophia used to celebrate it with just her mom, but now she has to celebrate it with her stepchildren, with her stepbrother and sister as well, who are the reason that she's a princess. But anyway, so I came into Sophia cold, and so I was asking Alice a lot of questions about kind of like family structure, and Alice wasn't really willing to engage with me during the.
She was kind of locked in the show. It's a little hard to talk.
She was like,
kind of like me.
She was like, "Can you not talk?"
No, she didn't even
Auntie
say
Amanda?
anything. And so then I start yelling to Sean. I'm like, "So Sean, is this a stepdad situation?"
Yeah. And the whole
you were
time
like,
Alice was like, "Well, Amanda, shut the fuck up."
no, Sean's just like on his computer being like, "No, I am like emailing about episodes in 2028." It's really amazing what you can do with an hour of free time. I've been meaning to say that to you. It's just like
Very productive.
I know,
Yeah,
but
I'm
it's
very
like
productive.
the light goes on.
At what cost?
And
we're gonna find out.
And I hear from you, and then I know what's going to be happening for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yep, I know how
Okay.
to plan.
All
What
right.
else is in Gen Z?
Ben DeLay Beckham. Speaking of Keira Knightley,
Never seen it.
it's
Never seen
it's
it.
nice.
It's very
Not for any reason. I just
it's
never saw
very
it. I was in college when it
enjoyable.
came out.
Oh, you should also show it to Alice. Eileen and Alice should watch it.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
It's a good
I'll
movie.
let them know. I believe it. Parminder Nagra, is that the star?
Yes.
Yeah.
Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, this is a good point.
Yeah.
This is kind of for normies too, right?
Yeah.
They've been tinged a bit with a Weinstein-esque
Scandal.
afterglow,
Yeah.
but
Movie's
still
innocent though. I think.
Fabulous movies.
Yeah, I like them too.
I didn't add Sing Street, so
Sing Street Irish, so maybe not Sing Street. Any other movies that we haven't listed here spring to mind? I'm sure there's a great many that people are like, how could you not have named?
So everyone, just to be clear, we're doing 21st Century only.
Yeah.
So like a lot of Hugh Grant movies, like The Parent Trap for all my Gen Z kids, which was also that's a bridge between my generation and your generation, but that's 98. So
What about Philomena?
keep it to yourself. Oh sure, yeah, but just
That's a good one, right? Or the
I guess
Trip movies.
Judi Dench is
Oh, the
another
Trip
one where if
movies are
Judi
great.
Dench is in your movie,
Yes,
then yeah,
if Judi Dench is there, if Steve Coogan is there, in
Yeah.
many ways, there's some
Cougs shows up.
Anglophile.
yeah,
Honestly, if Stephen Frears directed it, more than likely,
totally.
it's a part of this family.
You didn't. I noticed you didn't include Better Man.
Well, yes,
Couldn't
I'm
help.
mixed on
Would
Better
Mama
Man.
Couldn't
Mia
help it.
count?
Mamma Mia,
Yeah.
not a film I've seen.
I actually haven't seen Mamma Mia either.
Okay. Oh, and we talked about this last
Yes.
time.
We did.
Okay, it's like the biggest ever British movie, but I guess it's
Set in
filmed
Greece,
in Greece,
with
and she
half American cast.
right, but the other half of them are British.
hmm
I guess it doesn't count.
Okay.
It's more international. In Mamma Mia 2, I think like Donna was in London.
hmm
I wish someone here could work with me on this.
I'm so sorry.
Maybe I'll just show Mamma Mia to Alice and she'll love it, and then you have to watch the whole universe for.
It's all in play.
Okay.
It's all in. I encourage her to have well-rounded ideas. I don't want her to just be a vessel for my taste.
I thought of something by doing a Google.
Okay.
Shaun of the Dead.
I said the Cornetto trilogy.
Okay,
That's
sorry.
what that is
Okay.
called.
My
Yeah.
bad. Yes. Okay.
Shaun of the Dead.
Jeez.
Hot
Really showing
Fuzz.
my lack of cinephile knowledge.
And you were
World's
being
End.
a little bit of a letterbox nerd just then.
I'll be
just so
honest.
you
I didn't know. I didn't know what the
Huge
Crown
Edgar Wright
Nerd-
fan.
He's great.
Very excited for the running
yeah.
man.
Aren't they all? Do you think Harris Dickinson uses letterbox?
I would be surprised if he doesn't, based on that level
Okay.
of correspondence out
Should
of
we
the
try to
Criterion
find him?
closet.
But he doesn't really seem like a phone guy, So
She said aspirationally.
Yeah, I know.
She
just
said
think
longingly
he's just
picturing
like, I
herself
don't really
beside
look
him.
at that. It's really powerful.
I think.
I mean, it's just like he's like reached a level where he like doesn't have to be on his phone like the rest of us.
I
but
think his accent is camouflaging an unfortunate truth for you, which is
Yeah.
that he's more similar to me than he is to you.
But like yes, but there are some material differences.
Again,
I'm sorry
feels
to say to
aspirational
you.
for you. I'm gonna be.
I don't know.
Also,
man.
he
He was
was-
in his bag.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, of course, World Cinema Project Volume 2.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah,
Martin
yeah.
Scorsese."
Listen,
that
I
was
get
really.
it. But this is what I'm saying. Like, I know you think that's good for you, but like, I don't know if it's good for you.
Do you think he's market correcting me?
Well, yeah, I'm just sort of like, if that's available, then like we don't have to accept
Yes.
this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He doesn't host the podcast.
you don't want
He came
someone
up
to
one
be
time.
the best version of what you could be. Yeah.
It's one of those things where should I invite him on the show or should he never be allowed on
Right,
the
it's
show?
really-
Like,
If you invite him on the show, unfortunately, I will have to be under the table.
I literally, I can't be anywhere near it. Like that's.
he's a handsome guy.
that'd
I
be
was
flummoxed.
also kind of thrown. He also had a side part, and I was like, side part too? Like you're
Yeah.
in all my spaces right now, which is
Yeah.
much better. It's tough. He's
Did
very
I-
tall.
Did I ever tell you about the bizarre interaction I had with Jason Statham?
No.
Well, this is a great way to finish British.
In one of my many lives, I was in St. Bart, for the holiday season and visiting a.
Was St. Bart a British Isle at a
That's
certain
a good
point?
question.
Could have.
I think
I thought it was French.
I think
French.
French.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there, all the rich people go
Mhm.
and they have their yachts. And what they do is they
Mhm.
host celebrities on their yachts. That's kind of like their
Yes.
Yeah.
fun little
This is where you
game.
get all the
Yeah,
paparazzi
yeah, yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah. And then you go to parties on yachts via small boats.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we'd gone to a party on one yacht.
This was witnessed most recently in a season of Industry.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
they got in on the truth of the matter. So we're at this one party. I'm like 27 or 28 at this point. The Pussycat Dolls perform
Stop it.
on this yacht.
Wow. Who's your favorite Pussycat doll?
Well, I only know the one.
Scherzinger.
Yeah, Scherzinger. She
Currently on Broadway and Sunset Boulevard
Yeah.
right now. The
famously
world is
dated
so strange.
Nicholas Hexam, and Amber is the color of your energy. I believe is about her.
That's right.
Um,
That's right.
Yes. So they're performing. Martha Stewart is dancing over here. Anthony Kiedis. I'm losing my whole mind, being like,
Mhm.
why am I here?
Why were you there?
My college roommate is a billionaire.
Okay.
So me and my cousin are together. We all live together in college. And so now it's time to go to another party. So we are getting on the mini boat.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think I had my makeup like this. I always wear makeup like this. I get on and I'm separated from my cousin. I'm sitting next to Brian Grazer and his wife. I don't know them. They're just sitting next to me. And then Jason Statham and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley get on the boat.
Oh.
And he looks at me and he goes, wow, you were phenomenal in there. Implying that perhaps he had mistaken me for a pussycat doll. Now, everyone on this little boat looks at me and we're talking Brian Grazer, we're talking Lawrence Bender, we are talking, and I'm horrified, I'm mortified. And then I go, and then, because then he realizes
Mhm.
I was not a pussycat doll. And he goes, oh, no, sorry, that wasn't you, my bad. And then everyone's still looking at me and I go, you don't know me. I was amazing in there. I'm amazing all the time. And you are mistaken. And then everyone claps. They start clapping. And then I was like, I don't understand what just happened.
Wow.
So that was my
And then how much longer are you on the small boat
exactly
with them?
how much
Yeah.
like a long enough time that it's awkward.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
Incredible.
7 to 10 more minutes. Yeah.
Hats off to you. That's really good.
And no one was like
Did you
speaking
do
into
it
their
in a
wrist
British
getting you
accent?
assassinated? Or?
No, I should have really.
Yeah,
I'd
because
really
that's
had to,
sort of like
I had to think on my feet.
Yeah.
To avoid further
great story.
humiliation. Thank you.
Are there any Jason Statham films that belong in this conversation? He's frequently playing an American guy with a very clearly bad American and covering up a
Yeah.
British
Right.
accent. I mean, obviously he's in Snatch.
Do you guys watch Snatch with the subtitles? Because I do. I have to. Or are you able at this point to determine exactly what they're saying?
Like dogs?
Okay. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't totally understand everything, but it
that's
doesn't
part of the
really matter.
experience for
I just
you.
kind of let it wash over me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts here? Do you feel we did great work?
Should we try the marmalade sandwiches?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's try one.
Pass them around. Okay.
Yeah.
People love to listen to people eat on
Well,
mic.
we
It's a-
can
there's
just
a
give
whole-
a review.
There's a whole cottage industry.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I
This
do
is
love
beautiful.
whole wheat bread.
That's
Mm.
I looked it up, and that's the bread that Paddington uses, or Aunt Lucy used.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is great.
So Marmalade, first time.
I think so.
Mm,
I mean, it's just orange jam.
What did you think about
That's right.
the machine that they built instantaneously at the end of Paddington in Peru to create jam?
Well,
Why did they have
in Peru?
sugar?
I think that
Where did the
yeah,
sugar
add
come
more
from?
sugar. Yeah.
Where did it even come from? I have jars.
Really good question. This is good.
Thank
You know, I thought that the son needs to get his inventions out in the world, you know?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So as a boy mom, I found that inspiring. It's how to bring your son's, gifts to the broader world, get them away from the video screen.
Also, sorry,
great.
tiny,
Yeah.
tiny extra criticism.
Yeah.
They showed a close up of the daughter's hand at one point.
Mhm.
She had hand tattoos. And I was like, she's supposed to be 17 and not yet at college. Who let her get hand tattoos? And I think perhaps the actress is older and has them, and they forgot to put makeup on them.
So should I not have let Alice get hand tattoos? Is that what you're saying?
I'm going to take her.
So back when the mom
That's the kind of aunt I am.
But back when
Venice Beach, we're going. The minute she turns 10, she's
sounds great.
Please don't do that.
getting a belly button piercing.
Okay, my verdict is this is good.
Same. Yasi,
Great job.
thank you.
Yasi.
Great
Thank you
job.
for having me.
You really brought the Anglo spirit. 3 Americans here talking
keen on it.
nonsense.
I was-
I'm willing to go back to the UK anytime. We were talking about this last week. Just, wherever you need me to
We should
come and
do
talk to people.
a big
Please invite me.
pick Bandsplain crossover live event
Mhm.
for the end of the British season
Okay.
of Bandsplain, which we then make into a film festival
When is that? Isn't
Great.
that season ending fairly soon?
in June.
That's a lovely time to go
It's
to
a
the
beautiful
UK.
time for us
Maybe
to
once
go to
you're
the
done
UK.
golfing.
Well, I'll never be done golfing, as you
Okay.
know. Thanks, Yasi. Thanks, Jack Sanders. Thanks to our producer, Bobby Wagner, for his work on today's episode. Later this week, we're drafting Best Picture winners here on The Big Picture. We'll see you then.